Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'd like to test and show you guys. So right now it's set up to 280 gigahash overclocks and it's been mining for almost a day, a little bit less than a day. So I want to show you guys if we plug this. So this video is basically comparison between 120 volt load, so we can see power consumption on 120 volt versus 240 volts. So we are currently at the wall 164 watts. You can see at both of the meters close to 164. Let's round up 164 watts, and we are 132 watt at 12 volts, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna now connect to 240 volt and check the power consumption and see if it's any different. Alright, instead of moving to garage, I decided I'm gonna bring extension cord with 240 volts. Extension cords again, I know. Don't worry, it's temporarily set up. We'll just be connecting this power supply, our power box meter to 240 volts right there. Let's see if it's gonna even work. Oh, 237 volts, that's fine. Alright, so we are starting. I need to plug in, of course, Ethernet cable. It's disconnected, so we'll have to connect that. Boom. All right. Ethernet there, power on. It will start mining in probably a few minutes, and we'll be checking out our power meter reading, so we'll compare that. What's the wattage we're gonna use on 240 versus 120 volt for this PSU. All right, so yeah, we are 132 volts at the 12 volts, which mean we are 100% mining 132 to 134. And let's take a look at power consumption here at the wall. For 230 volts, we actually using almost 4 watts less, 159, 158, 164 I believe. So yeah, looks like almost 5 watts saving there between 120 and 240 volts. For the wiring, I guess it's a less voltage drop on the higher voltage. And I guess the server PSU design that it performed better on 240 volts. Even the one that 1200 watts, they only do 1200 watts on 200 volts, only 240 volts or 220 volts. Only if you're using 110 volts, you only can gain 900 watts. So the really benefit of 240 volt system. I want to do in this video also test this power supply. So now we're going to disconnect this and I'll show you the idle consumption of different power supplies that I have for 750 and also for 1200 watts power supply HP server PSU. So you could guys check yours if you have I have a bunch of this left from GPU mining, and when I'm building my Octa miners, I'm checking this for idle power consumption because it's all adds up, extra 10 watts on the power supply, and you have 3 of those. That's an extra 30 watts of usage, which you can use for your fans, for your other stuff. So let's check it out, and I'll bring the other power supplies to show you. All right, so you could see I have a bunch of these server PSUs, and this is 750 watt version Dell version. Then I have the 1200 watts different version. I have 750 watt this guy. I use the other ones in my Octa miners. I'm gonna unplug this basically Iceriver, so there's nothing connected, right? So I just turned the power on and you can see I have 7 watt idle power consumption, nothing connected. If I turn the power off, obviously this power gonna drop sometimes to about 3 to 4 watts, so sometimes a little more. So keep in mind, if you have your power plugged in, you're still using about 3 to 4 watts of the power consumption. on each of your power supply. So even if you're not mining, you turn off the device, you still technically, if you have 3 of these connected or 4, you're using 10 watts or 12 watts of power consumption of your wall, not doing anything. So just be mindful, disconnect your power completely. That's why I like to use these devices, because it's only using half a watt. Let's actually check it out how much this Wi-Fi device uses, because it's so hard to do. All right, so I unplug this and take a look. This, wow, so I'm only using 2 watts. Actually, it's not that small. It's a 2 watt is this Wi-Fi device using 1.9, between 1.9 to 2 watt on the Wi-Fi plug using. So yes, those plugs uses a little bit of power, and then you use a little bit of power on the, let me just plug to the second plug. We'll see how much we're gonna add. So 3, so I was wrong. It's actually using about 2 watts power consumption on your idle here without anything turned on those server PSUs. So you have using 2 watts there and about 2 watts on your Wi-Fi plugs or something like that. So let's compare to other, and I'll show you why the sum idle consumption is different. So if I turn this power on, now this is gonna bring to 6 watts. All right, so I have it 7 because I tested on 120 volts. So the idle on 120 volt is even higher for this server PSU. So you can see it's only like 6 watts without my Wi-Fi plug. So let's just go straight to the meter, and we're not gonna connect anything else for this video. I don't know if this one gonna work for 240 volts. What do you guys think? It says between 110 and 130 volt range. Kind of nervous. Well, let's hope we're not gonna burn anything down. I just want to see idle power consumption of these devices. It seems working. It's rated for 120 volt, but I don't recommend connecting to 240 volt system. But look at this. It's because it's not Wi-Fi, it's just the meter cost. You can set up your functions there for cost, and we can switch to the voltage. 237 volts, 60 hertz. Totally proper calculation of everything. So very interesting. Only using 0.2 watts. What if we can? All right, I tried to kind of turn this sideways so you could see the power reading here. And as I'm gonna start, you could see nothing connected to this. Just the idle consumption rate of this. So I'm gonna go one by one. So let's unplug this and connect this directly to 240 volts. And without any power connected, we already have idle 6 watts on this guy. All right, as soon as I turn the power on, you could see I'm getting 42 watts. It shows 46 watts on this meter reader, but at our power box it's 42 watts, right? So you could see how slightly different it is on the low power consumption. So it's 40, almost 43 actually. So it's pretty much what I wrote it down here, even at the 230 volts connection. So 43 watts. Let's go to the next one. At the end of the video, I'm gonna connect my KS0PRO back to one of these with the 46 watt idle, and we'll see the difference. If we used to have 158 watts on 240, we'll check it out and see how much extra power we use with the units that have extra idle consumption. That's what I'm actually interested to see. So 43 watts, we go to next one. Next one is labeled again 43 watts. idle. That's the one I tested. So first we're gonna connect without any connection here, right? So gotta be careful because it's a hot wire. So we're getting 6 watts at the wall without anything connected to it. So even if your power is off, right, your device is off, you're still using 6 watts of this device. So be very careful to leave it on for a long time because you're using power. Again, 43 watts idle, 43 watts. So this one is, when I tested, was 29 watts idle. So let's connect 29 watts and check it out. 27.8, yeah, so slightly lower. I'm guessing I did my initial test at 110 volt. So you could see 27, 30 on this plug. So let's go to the next one. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to start with this because these connectors are slightly different. So they don't take always the same breakout board, but let's check it out. Should be good. So again, I'm using 2 watts idle without any connection. 1.5 watt. This is actually very 2 watts. Okay, so it's kind of jumping back and forth. All right, so let's check it out. Yeah, and actually I was able to start it up with this breakboard. And my idle here on 240 is actually 10.8, so 11 watts, 13 watt on the, probably use this meter to check them up anyway. So now the last one is, I have a bunch of these and I labeled them, all of them just like that. So when I'm building my next device, I'm trying to use least idle power consumption because now we're gonna use the highest, the 46 watt option. And I'm gonna connect this to and start mining to my KS0PRO, and we'll see what the total wattage we're gonna get with this power supply. See, it's 43.8, 46 over here. So the moment of truth, we'll get that connected to the KS0PRO BOM. Okay, so we start mining there. Let me flip it over for you. Okay, this is all my tested. All right, so I'm gonna wait till we get full power usage of the, on the 12 volts. Once we get 132 watts, we'll check out. Usually as soon as we start mining, when our green lights start blinking, we know that our KS0PRO is already on the network and I'm gonna be ready to start mining. Also, I need to get the strap and strap it up just right here to this hole. I really like how this could be just fixed on the side there. What do you guys think for this fan controller board? I zip tied the other one right here. It's really cool to have this little area where you can zip tie to this section on the Fruition design kit. Getting the green light flashing, so that means we're going to the network. And we started slightly to go to, yeah, we're not quite there. It's only 5 watts, so it's still idle. It's just, oh, looks like it didn't start. Look at this, it's the green solid. That means it's not mining. Need to restart the power because it just got stuck right there. That's what happened. Wow, this is my second one, KS0PRO, that's doing that. I didn't have that before on my other ones, previous KS0PRO. They typically would start running and the green would start flashing and it would start hashing on overclocks. So the last 2 model I've got, the one that the black one before this special edition, also doing the similar thing. I had to restart sometimes 2 times or 3 times, unplug and connect before it would fully go on the start hashing on the pool. start flashing. Hopefully it will go to the pool this time. I don't know if I'm lucky enough. If it doesn't get stuck green, solid green, it should start mining on the pool. We're still at 5 watts power consumption here on 12 volts, so I don't know. Let's hope we're gonna start mining. If we're gonna be lucky or not, I don't know this time. Maybe I'll have to restart one more time. Look at this, it just stuck again on a green, solid green. That means it's not gonna mine, it's pretty much stuck. Okay, so I'm gonna unplug. Usually I'm count till 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to give time to completely reset. Now, so let's hope this time it's gonna start mining. Very unusual. I mean, last time it did happen to me once on this miner, but looks like it has a little issue with this. They may have done something to their firmware or some additional settings that it's just not really well with the overclocks working, but it does start eventually for me on my other miner after 2-3 resets. And after it started mining, it could mine for months non-stop without no issue. So it's really a matter of starting this miner. So let's hope this time it's from the third time it's gonna start. Oh, look at this, it got stuck again. So I'm not having any luck, I guess. I don't know. One more try. Let's give a 10 seconds and connect one more time. I could have just turned the power off here, I guess. Well, I just want to completely disconnect the power, I guess. So looks like we're having a problem in a real life video here, which is kind of surprising. It didn't do that to me before. Yesterday actually I did whole day restarting and redoing a firmware all the way from 260 to 340. Spent the whole day. It didn't happen to me once. It was not showing up on the web GUI, but after I factory reset, it started showing up on web GUI and was no issue. But today we mine, try to get on an, oh, whoa, it did start it this time from the first time, guys. Okay, I'm glad it did happen to me, and I could show you in the real life actually what's going on with this miner, because with my other KS0PRO that I ordered just before that, just the last one I ordered before they come up with this version, it was the very last order from Iceriver, and it does do the same exact thing. So pay attention, guys. Maybe you're getting with this similar issues with these miners. So really be patient. You just need to start it and it will mine. Worst case, you'll just reset to factory settings. Just be careful not to play too much with it. Try to set it and let it mine, because once it started, now it's gonna mine for a long time. Okay, now so we are again getting 132 watts, exactly same wattage at our 12 volt consumption. But take a look here, 180 watts, guys, 180 watts versus 158. And the idle I had on this one 7. It's not really, the difference is not 40 watt or 39, it's only 22 watts, but it still adds up. So if you're using this 46, especially on the low side load, so if you load in only to maybe 10-20% this, guys, you'll be using a lot extra wattage. You'll be using an extra 22 watt, which is ridiculous. It's like running this fan full blast, you know, 20 watts. Crazy. So that's my point for this video, guys. I hope you get something for you when you're doing this testing. Test out get your power meter box or any meter you could use for that to test your idle power consumption, because this is really going to help you to determine which power supply, when to use. Like I have this all labeled with different power consumption. So my 29 will be preferable, obviously. I would use 43 and 43 watts if I don't have any other power supplies, but they're probably I would get extra, maybe order, because they're not that expensive. But this 46 watt I'll be probably using the last, you know, because I don't want to waste 20 watts of power. If you add up on your big miner, like if you're using 3 on Octominer, that's 60 watt of power consumption, and if you have 10 of those, that's 600 watts. So you can almost run the full rig just on that power, on this idle power. So be careful with that. Make sure you test your stuff. That's the point of my video here, really, is just to show you your power consumption here, and that you can use your the same power meter box on 240 volt system, no problem. And it does actually save a little bit of electricity, not huge amount, but a little bit less. 5 watts for this KS0PRO. I'm gonna try to go back to 120 volts with this power supply and see how much extra, if it's gonna be 180 watts, 179 or more on 110 volts. So let's try. I'm gonna disconnect here for 240 from 240 volts to fully insert. Okay, so we are 118 volts. I hope it's gonna start now. Doing that so many times, I just don't want to get this, my KS0PRO go bricked on me. Please start mining, because it's the we don't want to get that trouble. All right, so but I just want to show you guys the importance and the voltage difference when you're using 120 and 240. So hope it's just gonna start mining. We'll start blinking and we'll see what the power. Please start. Okay, so it did drop. When it drops to 4 watts, it means it just started mining. So it's gonna go increase now, I hope. That's what I noticed before, and it's gonna start full blast. Yeah, 132 watts now. All right, perfect. So lucky this time again. So we have 132 watts at 12 volt. That's normal for 280 clocks, right? So let's go back and check this out at the wall. 184 watts on 120 volts. So yes, it was 179 on 240 and 184 on 120 volts. So you do have an extra 5 watts usage if you use different voltages on this server PSU. So keep that in mind as well. I really like to use 240 on these guys, because they're really more efficient on 240. Just keep that in mind if you connect them, and if you have ability to connect to 240, use 240 volt. You'll use a lot less amps on your side of your less on your wires. You're gonna have less of the power loss on your wiring, on your cables, and on your circuits. But obviously not everybody has 240, but keep that in mind. But you could see that 132, 184 from 179. Yep, that's it. All right guys, hope you like this video. Let me know what you think, what's your experience with 240 and 120 volt for this server PSUs. With 19 volts, I have the video when I test it out, and MOSFETs actually get higher temperature on the MOSFET by 2 to 4 degrees when using 19 volt versus 12 volt. Okay, so stay tuned and we'll see you on the next one.